Hey everyone, welcome back to Hanging Out for a Living. I'm your host, Teresa, and today I get to hang out with someone who truly knows how to bring stories to life, Paul Tracy. Paul is a seasoned film producer, the creative force behind Westwood Studios and Envision Productions, and a master of video production, 3D animation, and storytelling. With over 30 years in the industry, Paul has helped businesses, educators, and creatives alike share their messages in powerful and meaningful ways. So, whether it's capturing real life drama, there's a lot of that, for the big screen or creating cutting edge animations, Paul has a heart for storytelling and the talent to match. I'm thrilled to have him here to talk about creativity, life, maybe even entrepreneurship, and what it takes to turn a passion for film into a thriving business. So grab a cup of coffee or tea or your other beverage of choice and settle in. We're diving into the magic of storytelling with Paul Tracy. Paul, welcome to Hanging Out for a Living.
Thank you, Teresa. It's been a pleasure talking with you, getting prepped for this, and to be on the show now. So this is great. Thanks for having me.
I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day for coming in front of the camera instead of being behind the camera. So, Paul, I love how you say on your site that there's enough drama in everyday life to fill a movie screen. What first inspired you to turn real life experiences into film, and how did that journey really begin for you?
Well, it started off with the first company that you mentioned, Envision Productions, which has been around 30 years. I've been doing corporate videos and commercials for other people for many years. And
Sure.
even though I went to film school to tell stories of my own, I was telling other people's stories for all those years. And finally, a few years ago, I decided I'm going to open up Westwood Studios, and that's the company that tells the stories that are generated by me or people that are close to me that I like to bring into the fold and create into the big screen. It's really getting back to my passion of using the skills that I have to tell my own stories instead of somebody else's.
There you go. Love it. Love it. So you've worn many hats, right? You're producer, animator, director, business owner. How do you balance the creative and technical sides of your work while really keeping your passion alive after all these years?
Right. Well, I guess I must have developed a large corpus callosum. I kind of go back and forth between the left and right brain, between the technical side of things and the creative side. And one has to try to develop that when they're doing this kind of an art form. It's not enough to just know what you want to say only. I mean, yes, you can find good people that can execute it for you, but they have some knowledge of what you want to do in a technical way is important to be able to communicate to those people, perhaps the technicians that you've hired, what you want to do, whether it be a color corrector or someone doing animation for your film, or if someone needs to digitally manipulate something in the film that wasn't there when you shot it. All kinds of elements are in modern filmmaking these days that that it's good to have both hats, both the left and right brain balance. So,
Absolutely. I'm just curious, total sidebar. Where'd you go to school for film?
oh, here at RIT.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
school. 85 to 89 was my main time frame there. And then in 1989, because I got an internship in Hollywood for a few months, actually 6 months, it kind of messed up the schedule for me, which means when I got back, I got a job at Channel 13 for 5 years and I didn't finish my education yet. And then a couple of years after that, when I worked at SUNY Brockport, again, that was a technical position, but when I was there, the manager said, if you finish up your education, get your bachelor's degree in that filmmaking program, we're going to boost your pay. So it took me almost 4 more years of nighttime to get that last year done.
But you
But I
got it
did.
done, right? You
Yeah.
got
So
it
I'm
done.
technically the class of 2000, even though I was 89. So 11 years later, I finally got it done.
Better,
Um,
better later than never, right?
and a great film school because now RIT is even off the charts in great ways for what they do with Magic Spell Studios. I know you've heard a lot about it, but I don't know if our listeners have heard about what a great school it is for filmmaking in the Western New York State area. So,
Absolutely. And now you know, for our listeners and our viewers, where we're recording this right now. We're
oh,
Rochester Institute of Technology, RIT, and here in the beautiful Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. So, Paul, let's talk about storytelling. What makes a
sure.
story compelling for you, and how do you help clients who may not think they have a story realize they actually do?
Well, there's there's a bunch of technical things about storytelling, but there's also
Sure.
an artistic nature to it. When you're talking to, say, a client about storytelling and what they have in the marketing piece that they want to show, you've got to make something compelling. You want to show the product, of course. There's a lot of elements to that that are a little different in a commercial world or even in a documentary film than there is in a narrative film. If you have an interesting story that is about a person or about a condition that's changing in the world, you might want to make a documentary film about something like that. It's possible to do a narrative about those things too, but it's more like a documentary style that would fit. I guess the five C's of storytelling that they say that you can kind of look them up to are character, context, conflict, choice, and change. And your your actors have to go through this. That's kind of the structure where if you don't have change in a character, it doesn't become interesting at all. If someone comes in and this is you catch who they are at the beginning, a certain character is this way, they don't go through any conflict. Well, what are you watching? You're watching everyday life if you don't watch something that is a compact version of, say, the change over time. If somebody learns a lesson in life, if somebody has a conflict because of an outside source coming in, those are more interesting stories to watch. There's also different ways that you can begin a story. You can start a story in the middle and work backwards,
Mm.
and you have flashbacks to or you can work a story in a totally linear way. And I suggest that because there are so many variations on that, that people look up some of the good storytelling techniques that are available in master classes and such, besides just listening to one person's way of doing it. Because the film we're doing now, A Date for Anya, that's our current film that we're going to be releasing soon and maybe out by the time you see this, we'll see. That one is told in a series of flashbacks. So it's told about two kids that grew up, and one of them, named Rick, has some problems and issues with addiction and recovery, and he's married to Anya, and whether she sticks around or not and is part of the film's quest. And so, anyway, getting ahead of myself there, but the idea is that there's a lot of compelling storytelling techniques out there that one can apply. And there's also methods of analysis of storytelling, like the Truby method. That's one that we were taught through RIT, actually. But then there's Joseph Campbell's method of storytelling as well. So people might know that as the backbone of what's a lot of Star Wars stories have been told through and some science fiction stuff told through.
Sure. No, I love how when you flash back, some of the things I've seen, they've done it in black and white, going from color to black and white, which I thought was pretty cool. But
Yeah, interesting enough, in our flashbacks, what we did is we wanted to make sure we kept the camera technique to the style of the flashback as well.
oh, okay.
Because sometimes the camera techniques of modern age is more moving around like this,
Right.
But back in the 70s, as one of the flashbacks, it was all locked down on the tripod,
Mm,
locked on the tripod, cut to a close-up, cut to a wide shot. So what you would maybe consider boring now because of all of the different techniques that have emerged, that was the style back then. So if you employ a camera technique to a flashback style that doesn't fit, you can get an interesting effect from that. But
right.
people can be like, well, wait a minute, that's not how I remember the 80s when I was with my camcorder or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh boy, a little nostalgia there. So for anyone watching who might be sitting on a story they want to tell, whether it's for business or personal reasons, what advice would you give them about taking the first step?
Well, in truth, the first step is around this area. And actually it doesn't even have to be this area. The writers' workshop has opened itself up to Zoom calls. So there are people that join the writers' workshop, led by Mike Boaz and Wayne Coughlin, all part of the Rochester Association of Film Arts and Sciences, ROFAS.
Okay.
And ROFAS is a group that has more than just the storytelling aspect, but that part of it is a great one for someone to put their script in front of other people. You bring about 20 pages of a script through PDF, and people will read it. Different characters on the screen, different actors will take the roles that you've assigned. You get to read the business, all the fade in, fade out stuff, and you get to listen and get to critique then on your 20 pages. So that is a great way to get instant feedback about something. And they meet every couple of weeks too.
Oh,
So I can send you some links or information about where to find them. So you
absolutely.
know that or go to look at that. Yeah.
Abs
Now,
absolutely.
and on our own website, we are accepting submissions at a soon future point where we have a spot for it. So at westwood-studios.com, there is a spot for submitting stories for consideration, but we got to get through our film first.
There you go. That's right. So, absolutely. So, Paul, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and for sharing a peek behind the scenes of what you do so beautifully, helping people express emotion, connect through storytelling, and of course, capture the heart of real life on film. For those of you watching, if Paul's work resonated with you and maybe you've been thinking about telling your story but didn't know where to start, this is your sign to reach out. Paul's contact information, even though he mentioned a little bit here, is actually in the video description. So be sure to connect with him and continue the conversation. And of course, if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Hanging Out for a Living. We have more inspiring stories and incredible guests coming your way. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks so much, Paul. Bye, everybody.
Bye.